Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? And welcome to PRL. We are here for round 3 at the Saudi Arabian circuit here in Jeddah. And what a glorious night it is indeed looking like. And we have got some wonderful racing ready and ripe straight for you. Right, I should probably introduce myself. I'm the Characteristics. I am the host for the evening and commentator as per usual. I think you're quite bored of my voice by now, surely. So shall we let's skip all of that and go straight into what we saw last time, or basically what the championship now looks like. Spice Virus is currently sat on top with 40 points, but it's not exactly like it's a my apologies, easy battle, because he's on 40 points and Jay Thompson in second is on 38. So a really big battle sort of already beginning between those two. Hopefully we got a championship fight on our hands there. Danny is on 26 points, Jay Horse 25, Bonium 25, Blackbone 24. So that is 4 drivers split between 2 points. Spice Virus and Jay Thompson also split between 2 points. There's just a bit of a gap between Jay Thompson's 38 and Danny's 26. But we're definitely seeing a great midfield fight already begin to form, which is something I'm so glad to see. Standings wise for the constructors, and we got Alpine currently sat at the top, with Mercedes in P2 just 4 points behind, and then Alfa Romeo and Alpha Tauri, the two Alphas, separated by no points. They're both on 46, so it's looking good for them. I've got to say, those are two cars that I definitely think we could have a nice battle between the two, of which neither of them are on this year's grid. So it's sort of the battle of those departed teams. So I think that will be a bit of fun. I'm completely losing it here, and I doubt I'm getting exactly much of your attention. Either way, we have got some racing to do. Mr. Cookie has even put in ready up, try not to die, please. So I think we are kind of all expecting a bit of a chaotic race. And I think that is sort of the thing to come from Saudi Arabia, isn't it? I mean, who was it? It was our Henson that put a poll in of how many drivers to retire. It was sort of 1 to 6 plus. So 1 had 0% of the votes. Oh, sorry, 0 had 0% of the votes. 1 had 0% of the votes. 2 had 0% of the votes. 3 had 27% of the votes. 4, 18%. 5, 9. And 6 plus, 45% of the votes. We only have 18 drivers. So people are expecting to die. I like the Blackbone put a gif in of a man in a colossal accident, really to sell that utter chaos which is going to occur. I think everybody is well aware of the facts of everything that is going to go terribly, terribly wrong this race. I think it's almost kind of confirmed at this point. But I definitely think it should be a lap that we at least pay attention to, surely. And I think without further ado, you probably ought to go and check out some racing. You know, that's always a good thing to go and watch. And I love the fact that even though I have desktop audio on, it's just not coming through. Isn't that wonderful? I can see like little glimpses of it, but I'm not actually 100% sure. If I do game, will that solve my problem? Yes, it does. I'm a genius. I really need to figure out how to fix that, because the moment I click off my game, it just kind of kicks me out. I can't click on something and just change something to check without you lot not being able to watch. Whoa, that was close from F1 2019. He has put a time on the board already. Catet has just gone and obliterated that time, while Henson going and putting in a fairly decent time in comparison. It's 8/10 off, so it's still got a way to go. LX through next. JR Paul's just coming across line 127 dead. Only just faster than Cadet, so it's definitely got Danny there going fastest. 126.2, throwing everybody out of the water. Okay, so already some serious contention occurring. Who else have we got coming across the line soon? I'm not too sure. I think Blackbone will be one of the next men through, as well as this Ferrari, which I believe is Simon Bass-Fan. Yes, it is. Sorry, just behind Blackbone, of course. I've got my trusty sparkling water with me and hoping for the best is qualifying. Simon Bass-Fan going across P4 with Blackbone coming into the pit. So he evidently not happy with his lap. Oscar, he's just starting a lap. I guess we'll watch Cyclo then, really. I think he's the next man to come through, even though he's all the way just at the start of Sector 2, starting his first lap of the day. Righty, so if you probably can't already tell, Saudi Arabia, it's a circuit notorious for crashing because of these super close walls. They are literally everywhere and they are to death. First couple of turns, you've got to be dead careful. There is a bit of runoff towards the start of the lap. I think because they just know that chaos will occur, so they definitely added a bit more runoff. You know, in the latter sections of the lap, it is so unbelievable. Psycho Dark going P4 there. Good time from him so far, but I mean, Danny is really throwing everyone out the water, isn't he? Is not giving anybody else particularly much of a chance right this very second. We got quite a few people out. I think we'll follow Whiffle. He's just gone fastest sector 2, though I don't know whether that's just broken because he hasn't set a time yet. It's very often the case. It's quite frustrating, I must say, but that's sort of just life, isn't it? Yeah, that's what all the people say. Right, Whiffle coming through next. What time will he set? He comes across the board. P5, 1.1 off of our leader. So it's a long, long way, isn't it? Oscar also coming in again. So that's 2 laps he's attempted to set. And both of which haven't pulled off, which is rather frustrating for him. Psycho Dark really trying to get into the pit lane fairly quickly, and I think Koski as well trying to do the same. I can only imagine doing a 126 at that point of the lap. That's a fairly slow lap as well, so what's that? LX will indeed also be coming into the pit lane. We've got a few people on outlaps now. Hazard and F1 are out on outlaps, so we'll watch them, as well as Blackbone and Collins, who are all sat in that pack. It is just that pack of drivers, pretty much, except for that Mercedes, which I believe is Whiffle. Yeah, it is. F1 2019, also, just about to start a lap. Okay, so we'll watch F1 2019, see how he gets on. Hopefully, it shan't be too bad. That is certainly the plan. Coming through sector 1 pretty nicely. I've got to say, it's very difficult to sort of commentate over qualifying on this track because they're always in a corner. You can't say, oh yeah, they look like they're particularly quick or particularly slow out of a corner because they're just constantly into another one. Unless they get their line horrendously wrong, it's really difficult to tell between sort of 2 tenths. But F1 2019 certainly going quicker than before, which you'd kind of like to think, considering the fact that he's nearly 5 seconds off of the pace, sort of as we speak. So he's got a lot of work to do to get himself back up. But he is doing so pretty well so far. Sector 1 showing that to be the case. DRL Mike there just putting himself P2. Didn't realise the Ferrari was out on track. That's significantly faster. 2 seconds already through Sector 2. So that must have been where the big blunder was. He's recovered it pretty nicely. We're hoping to try and gain another position in the meantime as well. And across the line he goes P6. That's a good time. DRL Mike retiring from the session. Not too sure what happened there, but I'm guessing it has something to do with this yellow flag just here. How peculiar. So our current P2 driver is no longer in contention for pole position, which is slightly worrying, I must say. Somebody else who hasn't come out yet, Mr. Cookie, still in the pit lane, hasn't opted to leave yet, which I don't really know why. But there we go. McLaren there, Collins coming into the pit lane, still not set a time. So people really struggling with going out there and setting a time on the board. But he's still got a bit of time. We've got 7.5 minutes to go, so it's enough to survive, really. Currently on board with Simon Barsfan, Ferrari driver, currently P10. He's going to have to try and do what his teammate couldn't and stay on the track, but he is currently slower than his time beforehand, and I think with a big mistake like that, that is the end of your lap. I think he's very acutely aware of that, so he'll be coming into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Oh, Henson here just getting a lap started. Looking very good through Sector 1. He gets a little bit of a toe off of that Alpine. He's got another car in front that's going to dart out of the way very nicely for him. It's very late braking before they go into that swooping left-hander. So, such a risky place to go for a move, but the risk and reward is huge because it's such a long run to that next braking zone through a few corners. You have got time to try and pull ahead if you've got a slightly lower downforce. If you've got a higher downforce setup, you're screwed. But if you've got a lower downforce setup, then you are in a half decent place. See how he gets on. He's 1.6 off of pole position at the moment, so he's got quite a lot of work to do, if I'm being brutally honest, if he wants to try and beat it. He's going to the line, so he must be doing well on his time. It's going to be P12. It is 0.06 of a second improved. It's not looking like our Henson's day out there, is it? L4EH through Sector 1 alone has just battered his own time. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that's not a glitch because that was very impressive. Either way, let's see how he gets on. He's into Sector 3 now. I somehow didn't spot the change in Sector Delta time. I somehow always miss it. Don't ask me how I do. There's just suddenly in Sector... Oh, no, alright, okay, you're in Sector 3 now, alright. Didn't bother showing me that improvement then, did you? 127.1 and puts in P6. But Danny is looking fairly untouchable at the moment. So many drivers putting in times, trying to improve, and it's just not happening at the moment. Catet ever so slightly up on his time, 0.02 of a second. He's not improving at all at the moment. He's currently running a lap similar to Cyclo Dark, the driver behind, so he's going to have to do some work to try and get himself even back into the green. He gets himself back into the green. He needs to go back into the green. He does by 0.04 of a second, so he needs to put on quite a lot more to get past DRL. I swear, if DRL Mike is still P2 by the end of this quali, that is outrageous. To have DNF'd with 7 minutes to go and still end up P2 is impressive. Oh, well, no, Cadet coming into the pit lane, so that Sector 3 mustn't have been good enough to warrant going to the line. He wants to set up and just get one more lap out, and I think people really are struggling in this qualifying, and it does lay out a bit of a question. What is the race going to be like? Because I'm not too sure it's going to be all sunshine and smiles. Let's see how they get on. F1 looking fairly good through that final corner, but he is getting himself set up for a lap. Somebody I do want to pay attention to is this guy who's just come out of turn. Oh, he's invalidated already. Mr. Cookie looks like he's in trouble, but I think setting up, conserve your fuel, and your ERS is not what he's doing. It's anything but. I'd be conserving my ERS, I'd be conserving my fuel, I'd be conserving my tyres, and I'd be going for one more lap straight after this. But I think he thinks he can get in, change his tyres, and get back out again. It's a bold ask. It's a bold ask, because that's a lot to do in the square root of not a lot of time. But it's certainly plausible. F1 2019 just put in a purple sector 1, man. So, like, that is just outstanding. He's currently P8, and he's put purple sector 1. Danny, may I say, has DNF'd. Danny has DNF'd. Like, he is so comfortable in pole position. He's doing the Sebastian Vettel, and he's going to try and get... Oh, F1 2019 just going outside the line there. You could tell that he was going to get invalidated for that. But no, Danny is looking so confident in himself. He has retired with about 2.5 minutes to go when I first noticed that it could have possibly been a fair bit more than that. Yeah, Mr. Cookie into the pit lane. And so will F1 2019. I don't know whether he'll get back out again. It's going to be one hell of a task. In fact, it's going to be one hell of a task for Mr. Cookie to get back out again. I don't know whether he's going to be able to. He's still sat in there. As we wind up to the last sort of minute and 20. Really, a minute and 30. If you're not out there by a minute 30, Mr. Cookie will not make the line. He's getting back out with a minute 23 to go. I don't think it's long enough. He's going to have to cut some corners. I think he knows it as well. He's going to absolutely have to hammer this lap. Big, big ask for Mr. Cookie to try and make a lap. It's very, very brave of him to go in. We've got a minute to go, and he's just coming out of Sector 1. See how he gets on, because I have absolutely no idea. I think a few people beginning to worry that they're not going to have a time. Mr. Cookie is absolutely nailing this. Absolutely nailing it. Unfortunately, Cookie, it's your outlap, so, you know. He's properly going for one, isn't he? Some of Boss fans put it P3, which is very respectable. Except the fact that he's nearly 3/4 of a second off pole. I mean, Danny is looking quite unstoppable out there, isn't he? 24 seconds to go until the end of quali, and I can fairly presume that there's going to be a couple of people that might miss it. 2 Alfa Romeos coming through. Spyrus Virus to start a lap, and his teammate Zukoski, who has indeed managed to get the lap. And somebody who isn't going to get the lap, and he knows he's not going to get the lap, because there it is. He goes straight into the wall. He's completely given up. Mr. Cookie will not set a time. Blackbone, everybody else has managed to get a time in. Mr. Cookie has not set a lap for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for qualifying, which puts him at a huge disadvantage as we start. He's going to be starting from the back unless somebody else doesn't qualify. That's basically sort of what we're looking at here. We got Oscar, next man to come across the line. Let's see how he gets on. He's currently P18, puts himself P3 with a really good time. Cyclo Dark tries to close that gap to Danny. Hasn't done so particularly well. Who's the next man through? Alpine through next. Oh, sorry, Henson through next. He's managed to gain a couple of positions. It'll be Bonium next, and then it's an Alpha. No, sorry, and then Aston Martin. That'll be JR Paul behind him. Bonium looking decent. Doesn't get that final corner quite how he would have wanted. But he is going to be running to the line. He is going to stay out and get the time. He's going to put a 1:26. He's going to put a P2 there. And the Aston Martin goes into the pit lane, not happy with that time. Teammate Koski about to come across the line for the Alfa Romeo side. There he's going to go P6, and the other Alfa Romeo just briefly after. Spyrus Virus across the line, and I couldn't quite see how he did, but my goodness, what a weird qualifying session that was. I haven't seen anything of the sorts in a long time. Danny gets on pole position with a 1:26.2. 4 tenths faster than anybody else, and it was basically 6 tenths for the vast majority of it. Bonium and Cyclo managing to close the gap a little bit towards the end of qualifying, but Bonium will join him on the front row with Cyclo in P3 and Oscar in P4. DRL Mike in P5 and Koski in P6, and Simon Barsfan P7, JR Paul P8, Catets P9, Blackbone P10, LX P11, R Henson P12, Suarez Virus P13, F1 2019 P14, Collins P15, Whiffle P16, Hazard in P17, and Mr. Cookie P18 rounds out the pack after having not set a time. R Henson, look at how close R Henson and Spice Virus are. 1,000th of a second. 10th, oh my god, 10th to 16th, separated by 300ths of a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got one hell of a midfield fight on our hands, which, you know, we love to see. As we do indeed get ready to go for the 5 red lights, which is what we want to see. So get comfortable, get relaxed, and get ready to go to some racing. They're currently adjusting their setups, adjusting their strategy, adjusting their fuel. Well, I say adjusting their setups. They are under Parc Ferme, so it is only minor setup changes that they are allowed to make, but they are allowed to make a couple of different things. You know, they can change the amount of downforce on their front wing, tire pressure. I think they can change it. There's a couple of things. There's not a lot, but there is a couple of little things they can do. Not that I think really anybody bothers. Anyway, we're going to 5 red lights now. 4, 5 red lights. It's a very long pause, but we are indeed away, and Danny gets off to not really the most optimal start. Bonium is going to be able to try and go down the inside here at turn 1. Is he going to be able to get the move done? No, he's not, and that could open the door for the Red Bull just to the right-hand side of him to try and get past the Ferrari. Looking very interested as well behind the back of them. DRL Mike, I think, losing position there to Oscar. Oscar managing to get himself over to P4, and he's looking, pushes it wide slightly in the Ferrari. Just behind, pushing it wide, and goes round and out through Romeo. That is Koski going all the way back, and by the looks of it, a McLaren and a Williams getting caught up in that. That's Collins and our Henson getting caught in the firing range as well, and all hell's broken loose as everybody is trying to get past one another in this sort of absolutely, completely and utterly disorganized mayhem that is the start of this race pretty much every single time. Danny looking pretty strong at the front, but Bonium keeping onto the side of him much better than they were in qualifying, though Danny is already able to pull away a couple of tenths every corner, though he's getting drops and he's getting pulled and he's getting drops. I don't know whether on different setups or not, because that would definitely kind of explain it, you know, one being on a bit of a low downforce set and one being on a slightly higher. That's the Mercedes they're getting past. F1 2019 had absolutely no chance of keeping himself in front of that Merc Whiffle, using a loss of speed and power to get himself through into P13, and ever so slightly in front. Mr. Cookie is watching nicely in front of him. Spice Virus and Simon Barsfan going at each other. In fact, no move was able to be made there. Spice Virus defended that very nicely, but I think that door could open once again. Yes, indeed, Simon Barsfan does get him through his cadets. Also gets through LX there, so 2 battles into one corner. It's almost impossible to talk about them both at the same time. But already people are beginning to understand, it's probably not the best idea to go absolutely mental into a corner, and let's do this a bit more organised. And we like to see that, you know. We like to see people, you know, thinking about this. You remember when this used to be a DRS zone back in F1 2021? That was quite fun. Right, well, I wish I'd say quite a lot. Not a lot's happening at the moment. Mr. Cookie, though, I say that, as I say not a lot's happening right now, something's bound to happen. Mr. Cookie's going for a move on F1 2019 around the outside. It's almost like he's a trailer park girl, but he's managed to pull it off fairly easily. He's gone up quite a few places so far. He started obviously P18. He's up to P12. The solid start though into the pit lane. He dives very early on. Must be damage. No other reason for it. I could only imagine. Nope, he is just swapping the tyres. What's Mr. Cookie doing? Lord knows. Genuinely Lord knows. Maybe he picked up a puncture? I don't even know whether puncture is possible from debris. I'm so confused. Why would Mr. Cookie pit so early? Who knows? Why is the earth round? Who knows? No, everyone knows that. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Either way, right. What's going on? What's going on? That is a very nice camera shot. Sorry. Why have I never seen that camera shot before? That was amazing. Why have I never seen that camera shot before? That's brilliant. Oh, I mean, it's still a beautiful camera shot now. As they head in towards the final corner. Can we get on that helicopter a bit more often, please? Because, wow, was that pretty. Cyclo Dark probably looking the most intimidating driver in this list because he's just so close to the Williams. Maybe Bonian will be able to try and go for a move. No, has to stay back for now. It is so tight in this front run. Danny had such an amazing qualifying, but I don't think his race pace is quite as good because he's almost feels like he's almost holding back all of the other drivers. Bonium and Cyclo Dark are looking really quick, and then they sort of get stuck behind Danny down the straight. But then look at this, Danny is absolutely flown away in Sector 1. He's nearly broken that DRS gap. Bonium definitely, well, hugely catching up to Danny through that DRS straight. Big ask for him to try and go for a move here, but he is going to go for it. He's managed to get the pace. Bonium moves up into the lead of the race. Danny has to hold back and take P2 for now, but it kind of does make sense because Bonium is on medium tyres compared to Danny and Cyclo's hards. There are Mike also on the mediums, Oscar on the hards, everyone else on the mediums. So the hards definitely alternative strategy. And Danny playing it off pretty well because he's managed to get himself back into the lead of the race. Bonium has picked up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, though I think he might be trying to go for the stewards almost immediately after the race to try and get that knocked off. I don't know whether he was pushed off or whether, you know, he's not going to just cut the corner for no apparent reason. You know, some people are not very smart, but come on, that's a bit outrageously, you know, that's harsh on Bonium. Something's happened for him to cut the corner. I saw him going across the side of the corner. I thought something had gone wrong. You know, he'd been knocked off or he'd missed a braking, whatever. It's a harsh penalty to give. It is a harsh penalty. Whoa! What just happened there? Cyclo Dark and Oscar. Whoa! So I just clicked onto them and that happened. That genuinely scared me a little bit. What on earth have I just witnessed? Gordon Bennett. Well, hang on a minute. Let me watch the replay of that because I get a near instant replay from the YouTube stream. So they kind of knock into each other a little bit, and then bang, the Haas is just in the wall. The Red Bull's the wrong way around. That's the even more confusing bit. How the Red Bull ends up the wrong way round as they go running into the wall. The Red Bull comes in backwards. Well, something else I should probably mention. Everybody is pitting. Like, without exemption, like, everybody is pitting. I'm surprised I haven't seen anything in Tier 1 chat yet. My goodness, that's so weird. Cyclo Dark has been disqualified. Oh, sorry, do excuse me. What did he get disqualified for? Incidents. Cyclo Dark, he gets a warning for a collision and then a disqualification for wrong way. Oh dear. Oscar gets terminal damage. Yeah, we saw that. Cyclo gets a warning for that collision and then gets a disqualification for going the wrong way. How peculiar. Well, Catet and Collins and Koski are the only people to have not pit during that. Everybody else goes to pit. So interesting moves from them. I mean, Catet has definitely gained quite a few places because of that. But he's going to lose a lot when he has to pit, because no one else is going to have to. Right. So what are we on? We got 20 odd laps to go. I said it last night. Running mediums for sort of a long time is dangerous. Danny, Dara, Mike. But literally last night on a 26 lap long race. No, on a 29 lap long race, somebody was on a set of mediums for 23 or 26 of those laps. So it's certainly possible is what I'm trying to get at. You know, it's in fact, let me just hop back onto the channel and we can have a little look at what happened last night in PRL. The 29 lap long race. How many laps did he spend on those tyres? I have to listen to myself talk now. I don't really like it. Do you want to hear? I love how it doesn't even pick it up. It's too quiet. Yeah, 23 of 29 laps was spent on a medium set of tyres, and he managed to do it. That is Radomski, who I don't think has ever participated in this league. So if you don't know Radomski, that's probably why. I think it's the first time I've ever seen him before. And he was a bit of a tyre whisperer. So yeah, as I was trying to say, the mediums, they can last. What are they got to last? They've got to last sort of 18 laps. 19 laps. 19 of 25. Or 23 of 29. It's about the same kind of percentage. It's a tall order. But if they're good with their tyre management, then they could do it. Right, well, Catet will lead us away and probably get going as soon as the Mercedes gets outrageously close to the back of him. thinking that he was going to go, and now he's gone, and he has backed up the pack quite a lot, but he's managed to get away to quite a good start. And I think the Williams is going to put threat on Danny, and I think he could possibly get past with a bit of late braking. Is he going to go 3 wide? No, not quite, but the Williams is going to try and keep his wheel in there. It doesn't quite work out for him. Danny manages to hold the position very cleanly into turn 1. Blackbone looking pretty alone at the moment, and just behind him Collins getting himself past JR Paul there. I think that was just to defend the position rather than to take it. But just in front, and look at already Danny right on the back of Cassette, desperate to get past, and I think he's probably going to go for a move here. He knows that he don't really care about a bit of using ERS up. He just wants to get past, and he does so fairly easily. So the Mercedes, already comfortably past the leader of this race and back into the lead. DRL Mike will be interested in doing the same very, very soon, because every moment that's spent behind Cassette on his older, slower tyres is just going to be another moment that he's going to be spending losing time to Danny, so he gets past as quickly as possible. Bonium will be interested in doing the same very, very soon. The Alpine gained so many positions doing this, but I think he's just going to lose so many straight off of the bat. These front runners, they're going to get themselves past very, very quickly. Speaking of, Cassette loses a position to Bonium immediately, so in 1 lap he's lost 3 places. They're just looking so dangerous, but I think after this lot, he might be free for a little bit longer, just to sort of race in his own position. So even if he does gain a few places, it's a few more than he did beforehand. So he'll be most happy with that, I can only imagine. And who's this? This is Collins trying to go for a move around the outside of Whiffle. Makes contact, braked far too early, and it's sent quite a few people flying. Collins retires and leaves the session. Hopefully his AI puts himself in a position where it's not going to be too dangerous. Hopefully we don't need a safety car. That's the hope. He's going to park up just on the side here. Yes, he is. And hopefully that doesn't induce a safety car. It doesn't look like it's going to, which is good to see. Nope, we go back to green once again. What is happening back here, Mr. Whoa, Whiffle's the wrong way around. It's a good job I check things when I do. What is going on tonight? Everybody's everywhere. Right, okay, so as it stands, my prediction was correct. I said 3 DNFs. It's going to be a tall order for 16 plus. 6 plus. 16 plus is a very tall order. Would only leave 2 people at a minimum. DRL Mike there just shaking a little bit as he gets out. Mike now right on the back of Danny, taking a very different line through that corner, which is very interesting, though I don't think very successful. He's lost quite a bit of time going through it. Hazard behind as well down in P11. He's right on the back of Spyro Faris, who has got a bit of space in front. Hopefully a little bit of clean air might help keep him in a good position, but he also struggles without any DRS down those straights, which I can only imagine is what's keeping Hazard in that fight. DRL Mike, you can see the same things happening with him. He's able to catch up through the DRS straights, and then a corner comes round and he's absolutely stuffed, because he's got absolutely no chance of being able to keep the same pace through the corner as the car in front. And look at that, he's just gained so much down that straight, and maybe with a good enough exit he might be able to get a good opportunity down this straight, and I think that is going to be the case, because it's only a quarter of a second as the DRS opens. He gets closer on the inside. The Ferrari goes through into the lead of the race, and just for how long is it going to be, because Mercedes is keeping himself there and he's keeping himself in the fight. He doesn't want to give this up just yet, but he is going to have to, because the Ferrari does indeed get himself through and past the Mercedes completely. And Danny has retired. Whoa, how did I miss that? Where? Well, somehow it's been cleared up very quickly. Sorry, I'm as blind as a bat. I'm going to have to go and check the replay. Right, so Danny's out, Danny's in. Right, Danny's in. What happens? Go round that corner. And I know what's happened. As they've gone through the corner, he's clipped the inside curb and it's taken his wheel off. I think that's what's happened. Because he was sort of just there and then he wasn't all of a sudden. So, as he's come through that corner, I think he's bumped the left, or he's either taken the wheel off on the left side, or he's bumped the left side. That's flung him over to the right and wiped him out that way. Somehow, no safety car, but our man on pole, by some margin, now out of the race. And DRL Mike in a fantastic position. Because all of a sudden, he's got 3.5 seconds to bony him behind, who's got a penalty. Right, well, my prediction was wrong then, because of 18 drivers, we've lost 4 so far. So I think 18% of the people that took the poll are currently correct. We are on up 12 of 25. Annoyingly, we only need another 2 for 6+ to be correct, and that's worrying, if I'm being honest. Quite worrying. We'll watch on board with Cadet because he's fighting with our Henson at the moment. It is the closest bit of competition we do have out on the field. And in fact, it's done and dusted just like that. Catet's managed to get himself through rather easily without too much challenge whatsoever. Our Henson, I think, sort of just knowing that to hold his back and take his time, Cadet is going to have to pit. After all, because he is still, I think the only man not to have pit by now. Am I correct in saying? Stops. Yeah, he's the only man to have not stopped yet. Very, very interesting. Question is, when is he going to stop? I'm not too sure. LX's games crash. Unfortunately, Alex, I don't have your EA, so I can't invite you, I'm afraid. Which is such a frustration. And the track certainly has quieted down, hasn't it? We'll watch this. Mr. Cookie. One hell of a recovery. This man's P5 at the moment. He's doing very, very well. He's going to have to conserve these tyres like absolute madness. But he is doing well. I've got to give him props. He was P18, he's now P5. And he's right on the back of Simon Bass fan and very interested in getting past by the looks of it. I don't think Ferrari has much hope. Mr. Cookie seems to be on a bit of a menacing spree. As L4EH has retired from the session down in Sector 1. That's brought out the virtual safety car. 5 DNFs. 4 DNFs and a DSQ so far. Is it going to be 6? We are on lap 13 of 25. If the maths is correct, we're only going to finish with... What's it? We're going to lose... 5, 10, we're only going to finish with 8 drivers, but I'd like to think that the DNF slow down. Blackbone's got on a 5-second time, but as he was speeding in the pit lane. I was about to say I was surprised if Cadet doesn't pit, but he has indeed pit. Everybody that was on a set of hard tyres, except for the front runners, have opted to swap over to softs by the looks of it. They want to try and run softs to the end of the race. It's definitely... It's kind of plausible. I think if it was a safety car, it'd be a bit more plausible rather than a virtual safety car. but they're opting for it nevertheless. Some people could set hazard opting for mediums, which I think is a little bit more fit because we are going green already. Though those people in the pit lane are losing out on time now. They didn't quite lose out on quite as much time as they would, but still have lost out a little bit. And Mr. Cookie, currently P2, did have the lead for a moment there. I've just realised because with the pitting situation, did have he's got a penalty as well. When did he pick up a mate? I am so not paying attention. This is a problem. He's got a 5-second time penalty. What was that for? He's back in the lead as well. What is going on? Mr. Cookie incidents, recent incidents. Mr. Cookie, 5-second time penalty, severe collision with Bonium. That would have been under the safety car. Bonium's got on a 5-second time penalty with a severe collision with Mr. Cookie. Whoa, what's happened to Spice Virus there? Getting off track slightly. I doubt it was a push, but gets himself back onto the track. He's currently P4 as it stands. Mr. Cookie's gotten himself back into the lead of the race, but with that 5-second time penalty, he might be able to get it pushed off, which would be beneficial for Bonium as well, who's also picked up a 5-second time penalty because of it, which pushes him up to 8 seconds of time penalty because he already had 3-second penalty, which doesn't look very good for him because that is a lot of positions that he loses with 8 seconds. He loses 3. Doesn't lose to Simon Barstfan though, which is a benefit. But will lose some. DRL Mike is thinking going to get past the Aston Martin here. Is he going to be able to get it done in the braking? Yes, he does. Aston Martin does not put up a fight whatsoever. J.R. Paul almost stepped out a bit early there. I'm not going to say worried, but a bit precautious in that move. Didn't opt to really go for it. Despite Virus just getting in front. And I think the RL Mike is going to go for another move here as Blackbone has left the session. I'm guessing a disconnect of sorts. Yeah, that's a disconnect. They've got a disconnect written all over it is what it has. I think DRL Mike is on a hunt, you know. He is really going for it because he's now right on the back of Spirus Virus and pushing to get past. Practically right up the gearbox immediately. He's looking super, super quick on these hard tyres. Really making him work for him. They're going round into the final corner now, and I think he might have a good opportunity around the outside so long as he can get it done. Indeed he does. DRL Mike moves up to P3 after a fair few setbacks, and by the looks of it, oh, I thought he was pitting into the pit lane for a second there, but no, just getting himself across. I think just trying to get himself out of the slipstream. All I really hear is. I think that might be what puts me to sleep, you know. Because it's just. This. I'm losing the plot, man. I'm losing the plot. I really am. I'm so sorry to the people watching. Because I wish there was something to talk about. Mr. Cookie's just lost the place. F1 2019 got passed again. This could be a really good race for F1 2019, you know. He could have this win. This could be F1 2019's day. I say that Mr. Cookie has indeed just got... Whoa, that was a lot of time lost there. Very quick. I mean, that's not 3/10. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't break on me. Don't break on me. Oh, thank God it's not broken. Right, well, as I said, it could be, you know, F1 2019's good race. It's all gone terribly wrong for him, and DRL Mike is catching up at a rate of knots, so that's something to keep your eye out for. Cookie has a steward pen coming. He literally killed me. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything. I mean, I'm unbiased, so I don't factor in any steward penalties. I just factor in what the game gave, and that's my final output, and then whatever happens in the background happens. It's sort of just I avoid it, to be honest, you know. Because unfortunately, if we had live stewards, that would be brilliant. To have live stewards. Oh my God, DRL Mike is on a madness. I thought it could be like a good sort of 2 laps before he caught up. He's gotten past. DRL Mike is on some form of drug, surely. Because the speed that Ferrari's going, it's like 2019 all over again. Ferrari engine just being too powerful. Well, that was illegally powerful, but you know what I mean. Right. Spires Virus is right on the back of our head. Our Henson has done an absolutely amazing comeback drive as well, may I say. Our Henson was right and down in the dumps to begin with, and he's up P4. I mean, what is the position changes looking like? It must be absolutely ridiculous. This Cookie up 17, F1 2019 up 11. Our Henson and Spires both up 8, though going very slowly through there. Must be conserving a bit of fuel. Hazard up 7 as well. Only people missing out. Bodium down 7. Not great. Blackbone and LX down 2. It's because Danny's down 14, Oscar's down 13, and Cyclo's down 15. And well, Koski's down 8 as well. And they're all out. So just giving everybody a huge boost in positions. Can Spires get past? Ooh. That's interesting. Bars fan, though, he's managed to get past JR Paul just behind. You know, it's so loud when you can hear the background people on the speakers are very audible. Is always quite a laugh for me. Spires Virus possibly looking for the exit move there. Cut to the inside very heavily. Forced our Henson to take the outside line around that corner, but he couldn't quite make it work. He just wasn't far enough up the inside of the Williams car on the left-hand side. but certainly putting the pressure on. DRL Mark not gaining on Mr. Cookie particularly, so I wouldn't. I'm not exactly sort of too concerned about that at the moment. DRL looking to calm down a little bit in his onslaught of pace. But Spyros does indeed get himself up into P4 as Simon Barsfan is getting in on this fight. I've got to say, he's broken free of JR Paul and he is right on the back of these two now. All of a sudden, a two-way fight, now a three-way fight. And what's it going to be? Spyros Virus under pressure. Simon Barsfan gets himself past R. Henson down that main straight. I say that. DRL Mike's now 7/10 off the back of Cookie. Arthur said, oh, Nelly, am I going to have to leave this cracking fight for a bit? I think we're going to have to, because DRL Mike could quite possibly get himself into track lead position. He is net lead position by some margin, but he's certainly not track lead just yet. And that could all change very soon. What is the tyre difference? He's a 7-lap-old hards, which makes sense as to why they're quicker than 15-lap-old mediums. But my goodness, DRL Mike has just bombarded through this track and bombarded through all of the drivers, and I think he might have Mr. Cookie either down this straight or on the next one. I think he's going to hold back for now. A good idea, hits a late apex, gets a fantastic exit, and with DRS open any moment now. Only issue is Mr. Cookie's all going to have DRS because of those lap drivers, but I think he's still going to be able to get it anyway. Yes, he is. A Ferrari gets himself up into the lead position. DRL Mike finds himself in P1 for now. Spyros Virus almost has a look down the inside of Simon Barsfan, but elects against it at the last moment, and quite literally at the right last moment. Alright, well, this fight continues to rage on. Simon Barsfan does seem to be able to pull away a little bit. I think he is using the slipstream of these ghosted drivers to sort of just help pull him along. And he is going to get DRS off of the Alpha Tauri. And on the exit, who knows, this could be quite a big benefit for him. It's not going to be for too long. It's only going to be for this DRS straight. It's not going to be able to benefit off of anybody else for a long, long while. 4 seconds is F1 2019 in front. You know what? Shall I tell you the one good thing, though? It has been nearly 10 laps without a DNF. And you hear that? Spyros Virus let off a little bit there. Actively staying behind, trying to get the late apex, trying to get the good acceleration on the Ferraris, trying to do what DRL Mike did, the other Ferrari, to this Ferrari. Simon Barsfan, I think, has had it pretty much. Yeah, he has. The Alfa Romeo, sorry, getting through there very comfortably. Big wins, though, for this Alfa Romeo. He needs to do this to try and get himself and retain himself in that fight of the Alphas. Mercedes aren't going to have a good run that they wanted. Ferrari, great day at the office, Ferrari, and so is it for the Aston Martin, P3 and P6 for them, P1 and P5 for Ferrari. They'll be most happy with those fights, but we'll keep just watching these guys, you know. These are the closest got caution, yellow flag sector 2, though cleared up almost immediately, so I don't think any major calamities happening there. Jar Paul really needs to get himself back and involved in this fight because he's been sat at the back of it for quite some time, and he'll know that. He'll know that he wants to get involved in it sharpish. As Simon Barsfan is going to try and go on the move on Spice Virus. He's going to get it done into turn one without too much difficulty whatsoever. He gets himself back onto the racing line before they even hit the brakes. And so nothing to complain about for the Ferrari. But yeah, the Aston Martin, he's just sat behind them, and he's just sat a little bit too far behind them, so that he can't really get involved in the fight, which isn't ideal. He needs to just close that gap by sort of about 2-3 tenths, and about 3 tenths behind. That's all he needs to be, but he needs to be there in a DRS zone. Otherwise, it is going to go horribly, horribly wrong. I say horribly, horribly wrong. He's going to finish P6. You know, he might get an extra place or two if he just puts the pressure on a little bit more. If he just itches out a little bit more pace from his car. It's all he needs to do, but that is, unsurprisingly, the hardest bit of pace you can get out of it. Our Henson coming into the pit lane, and I think we all know exactly what that's for. He's whacked on a fresh pair of softs. He's going for fastest lap. That's pretty undoubtedly obvious. I think we all knew how that one was playing out. F1 2019, right on the back of Mr. Cookie. And Mr. Cookie had an absolute storm through the pack, and he is now just beginning to lose a couple of places here and there. In fact, I think he might actually even fall all the way down to P6 with this penalty, which would be, in the nicest way possible, catastrophic for him, considering the fact that he was leading the race all that not long ago. DRL Mike now 5 seconds, give or take. There we go. Just crossing the 5-second barrier for a moment there in front of F1 2019. And F1 2019 walking away. So Mr. Cookie Tire's gone. That's just stating the obvious. But we are on the final lap of the race, so we haven't got long to go left. Mr. Cookie hasn't got long left to suffer. Though I think his suffering is going to be greatly amplified by what is to come at the end of the race when he crosses the line, and when indeed the 3 cars behind him also cross the line. But it has been a race of many DNFs, though not in the second half. Oh dear, got a puncture if you didn't see. Oh, you got a puncture. That makes a bit more sense, but I thought, oh, he's got 50 seconds behind him. He's going for fastest lap. One person who has impressed me so much has to be this man. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. And DRL Mike comes across and wins in Saudi Arabia for an absolutely fantastic race for the Scuderia. F1 2019 coming in P2. Mr. Cookie picking up another 5-second time penalty for unserved penalty. Or I think he could serve it. I'm not 100% sure how indeed that works. But Catent finishes P7. Is our Henson going to get that fastest time? Whiffle just went and took it last lap. So it could still happen. Bonium with a 5-second time penalty for for not serving the penalty. I think the same thing as Mr. Cookie. That is the the collision between the two of them. They both got that penalty, so they have both picked up the same penalty for not serving said penalty. Either way, our Henson, next man to come across the line. Can he pick up fastest lap? He lost no positions putting on these tyres with a puncture. He's going to go for it, and he isn't quite going to get it. Whiffle did indeed put in the fastest lap there of a 1:28.4. Our Henson only getting a 1:28.7. Unfortunately, who knows? He might even be on for a better lap this time round. 1:24, 1:26, 1:27, 1:28. No, he's not. He's going to come across with a 1:39 to finish the race. And F1 2019, they're picking up driver of the day, and I think deservingly so. He came through so much. DRL Mike put on one hell of a show as well. Mr. Cookie did a very good job right until the very end, holding his first place for quite some time before DRL Mike came in and swooped in and took it. Not to mention as well, Fares picking up P3 from that mega fight. You've got to give credit to him and to all the drivers on the podium. And so with that, DRL Mike wins for the Ferrari team, and F1 2019 comes in P2 from the Aston Martin. Fares in P3 for Alfa Romeo, and Simon Basfan P4 for Ferrari. JR Paul P5 for Aston Martin, and Mr. Cookie P6 for McLaren. Cadets P7 for Alpine, and Hazard P8 for Red Bull. Bonium in P9 for Williams, and R. Henson for the same team in P10. Whiffle P11 for Mercedes, and Blackbone P12 for AlphaTauri. LX P13 for Haas, and Koski P14 for Alfa Romeo. Danny P15 for Mercedes, and Collins P16 for McLaren. Oscar P17 for the Haas team, and Cyclo in P18 for Red Bull, with Koski and below having DNF'd, and Blackbone and LX having been lapped, and Whiffle obviously picking up fastest lap. So with that, I thank you all so much for watching. I have been the Castteristics. This has been PRL Round 3 for Jeddah. Thank you, and good night.